Hi everybody, Elisa here with another Vera Bradley bag of the day. Today I thought I would show a couple of new factory outlet patterns because I had a little, well, I fully expected to have a Magenta Medallion incident, but instead I ended up with a Penelope's garden incident. And I am going to be running out to the grocery store really quick, and I decided to load up a Penelope's garden bag, and so it's a perfect excuse to just lay it all out there before I run out. I'll actually start with Magenta Medallion because I had seen pictures of this pattern, and I tend not to gravitate towards medallion patterns. Like whenever I'm in the focus group, the Vera Bradley online focus group, and whenever they show us pattern surveys and there are medallion patterns in there, I tend to just go, oh God, a medallion, because since I'm so sort of compulsive about pattern placement, and that can be a challenge. Getting the medallions in spots that don't look wonky can be a challenge. But what I'm finding with the new signature medallion print, the Bonbon medallion, and also with this, is that the medallions are large enough that when they get cut off or they're not placed in a typical like centered position, they still look good because they're so large that it just becomes sort of this abstracted pattern. Whereas when you have a small medallion pattern like charcoal medallions and that whole family of various colors of that print, the medallions, sorry, always got to keep an eye on the puppy. Never turn your back on a puppy. If the medallions are smaller, then I've become, and they're sort of askew, then I become sort of very focused on that, and I can't get past it. And so that's what I'm always sort of saying. Please don't jump because you're little, okay? Ugh. Yuck. Ugh. Anyway, so the Magenta medallions are on the larger size, and there are two of them in this pattern, which is nice. But they didn't have a lot of items in it yet, which is why I was surprised I didn't end up with more of it. I'm not too worried about that. I feel like they'll probably get more items in eventually, because I remember when Hilo Metal came out, they didn't get everything all at once. So I'm hopeful that other things will come in it, but they didn't have a lot in it. They didn't have the large Glenna in it. They didn't have a Mandy in it. These aren't bag styles that are of interest to me. It's just what I remember. They didn't have the Go Ahead Convertible Crossbody in it. They had like a cooler tote. They had the Essential tote, where the pattern looks very good on that because you get a nice chunk of the fabric, but I do think that's kind of a chintzy tote. And I don't like the way the handles are attached, the way they're spaced. They did have the mini satchel. It looked good in that. They didn't have the Turnlock Wallet. I think they had the Euro Wallet, and they had this, which is, I think, the Accordion Wallet. See, I don't think I cut the tag off yet. Yes, the Accordion Wallet, Magenta Medallion. So I just got this for a little taste of it. They didn't have any towels. They didn't have any throws in this. They didn't have the Mirror Cosmetic or the Kiss coin purse. That's what I always go for first. And they didn't have that. But I remember Hilo Meadow didn't come. They didn't get the Kiss coin purse in Hilo Meadow for a long time, and then eventually it showed up. So I really, this pattern is appealing to me. It reminds me of stained glass a little bit, medieval patterns, and the colors are more vivid than I expected them to be. So these pinks and corals, and a little bit of like a deep orange kind of color. They're vivid. It's nice. It's not what I expected. I expected it to be a little bit more muted. And so here you can see, there was one with a more centered medallion, but I kind of liked it this one off center, because then you started to get a little bit of this one, which is the other medallion. And the style that there's no seam on the bottom, it just wraps around. The fabric just wraps around. And so here's the other medallion. So I thought it was nice to get both of them, because the other one that I was looking at didn't have both of them. Please don't jump. Please don't jump whatever you do, okay? Because you're little. Yeah, and I worry that you're going to hurt yourself. Okay. Ribbon pull tie, just zips around 3 sides, and then is gusseted. And please don't, oh God, she's going to jump. Please don't jump, puppy. Please don't jump, you could get hurt. Don't jump, Rosie, don't jump. Just stay sitting down here. Huh? The inside is a nice color. It's like a grayish purple. It's muted. It's really beautiful color. Actually reminds me of the color of my high school prom dress, which is probably why I like it so much. So inside is sort of a basic accordion wallet kind of configuration. You've got place for your bills here, and then on top of that are some card slots. I think it's about 6. Now, 1, 2, 4. 4 on this side. 4 on the other side with another sort of bill slot. There she goes. That didn't sound good. See what I mean? Did you hear that? That kind of thud as she hits the floor. Inside, in the middle, the divider has a zipper pocket, which is nice. I always like that kind of secure pocket there. And on one side of that dividing pocket is your ID window there. So just your basic, I mean, not maybe not as many organizational options as, say, the double accordion wristlet, but you know, I just want a little bit of the of this pattern. They had a backpack. It has, I think it's a newer backpack style, Outlook backpack style with a handle up top or something. It was nice looking, and they had that in this. So again, it's the back, Magenta Medallion. It definitely reminds me of stained glass and kind of like Middle Ages. Something about the way that the pattern is rendered. It's very soft. There's a softness to it. There's no like hard edges. And this is a nice shot because you can see in these like lighter elements of the design, you can see the different colors. You know, look at that very pale lavender and that strong coral. Very pretty. And then along the in between, I like that on the edge of that lavender, there's that little edge of pink. Just really nicely done. It's been a while since I've really liked a factory pattern. I tend not to go for them as often, and so I'm pleased with this. But that's the only thing I got right now, so I was surprised. And then, you know, I had seen people's pictures of Penelope's garden. Everybody knows about Penelope's garden by now probably, and the hedgehogs. And I am a critter person. Everybody knows that if they watch my videos. But I couldn't get on board with it when I was looking at pictures of it. I just didn't like the palette. I didn't like the color scheme. And I still really don't like the color scheme. But yet I got in there and I just saw the hedgehogs and something happened to me. And I just sort of went a little crazy, a little hedgehog crazy. I think it's something about like the hunt for the critter in a way, because I notice as I'm looking at stuff, well, gee, it's not so easy to get a hedgehog because, again, something I've talked about in numerous videos, the critters are placed kind of far apart. And so it becomes very, you know, it's not unlikely that you would get an item with no hedgehogs on it. So then it becomes this chase, becomes this, it becomes this challenge. That may be why they do it. Anyway. So I have been wanting a new laptop sleeve just to change up a little bit, and So I go to this and I think, oh, well, that's a big chunk of fabric. There are going to be hedgehogs all over that. Nuh-uh. What I do like about this newer laptop sleeve is that it has a ribbon pull tie. My other one, which I have, which I love, is Batik Leaves, and that has the pleather pull tie. So I was excited about that. And so I pulled this one out, and I thought this was good. It's got two of them, and they're the different ones. So people are probably familiar, but if just in case, there's one hedgehog facing forward. Love that one. Just love that cute little face. And there's the other one, side view of the hedgehog. And so then I thought, this is great, and I flipped it over. Well, actually, this wasn't the first one I looked at. So I was looking at one. Ow, guys, stop wrestling. Okay, I'm sorry. I just have to break this up. You guys have to stop doing that. You have to stop chewing on her face. Okay? Not a big fan of that. I was looking at one, and it had hedgehogs on one side, and I flipped it over, and the back side, the fabric was put on upside down. So I would just give people, you know, just so people are aware, I'd look at the fabric carefully, because it may not always be oriented right. Anyway, so I put that one aside, and I saw this one, I flipped it over, and the fabric was oriented right, and there's another hedgehog, and so I said, okay, I'm going to go with this one. But this does give you a good, like, overall look at the pattern, and I can just talk a little bit about why I didn't like it so much. And it's a color scheme. I'm not crazy about this color scheme. I never, you know, it's a purple that I'm not crazy about. And on top of that, the rendering, it's got this sort of old-fashioned looking rendering to it, to me. This looks very dated, and I don't like the white flowers dropping out on the color, because to me that makes it look unfinished. It's odd because I love Mocha Rouge, if people are familiar with that vintage pattern, which also has large white flowers, and I think that's beautiful. It's well done there, and I love it, and I don't have the reaction here that I'm having here, where I really feel like it looks unfinished. And they did show us this in the pattern survey in the focus group, and that was the reaction I had, everything that I just described. But there's something, having said all that, there's something appealing about it. It's playful, and I love the critters. And the color, the minty sort of green, which is coming out, it's fairly accurate, but in reality it just looks just a slight bit greener, like a mint green, rather than as blue as it's coming out there. It's sort of refreshing. I think it's very good for summer or warm weather. It's just got a crispness to it. And so, you know, I thought, okay, well, I'll get my laptop sleeve, and then I'm walking around. And I saw, you know, well, let me look at my go-to item, which I like to collect, which is the Kiss coin purse. And again, very hard to find. Oh, there's a little rough spot on the metal there. Very hard to find one with a hedgehog, especially one that's right side up. Because as I've mentioned, and when I show this item, I mentioned before, it's constructed out of one piece of fabric, wrapping from, you know, one piece of the closure, the metal frame, wrapping all around underneath. So there's no seam on the bottom. So one side, the front, let's say this is the front, will be right side up, and then the back side will be upside down. But in a pattern like this, if there's no animals, it doesn't really matter. But there were some with the hedgehog on the side where it was upside down, so I put those aside. But I did find this guy. So I decided to go with that. And that purple flower is sort of positioned nicely. So I went with that. The lining on this pattern is a very pale mint kind of green. Here it's looking a little blue, but it's definitely a mint green. And the light here is pretty good today. But it's no matter what I do, it's the lens is making it sort of bluish. So you know, that as I was walking around, I just felt more and more like, there You know, gotta look for the hedgehogs. And I was pulling wallets off of shelves, and there were no hedgehogs. So, you know, I saw this one. This is the Mirror Cosmetic. I do like this item. I do use it multi-purpose. I don't use it for cosmetics. It is not plastic lined, which I like. It's fabric lined, nylon. Has the slip pocket on the other side with a mirror. A mirror. That does not detach. I suppose you could cut it off if you really don't like that feature. But I don't have a problem with it, although I don't really use it. How about we stop wrestling? Oh, good God, Peaches, you're such a toy hog. She's such a bully. Anyway, this little hedgehog, so I went with that. I tend to use this for, well, I have used it as a clutch. That was when I had a smaller phone, although I do think my phone would fit in here. Just. But I do like this for my GPS when I take a smaller bag. Then got another accordion wallet. Oops, which I just dropped on the floor. And they had about 4 or 5 of them out on the shelf. And this was the only one that had a hedgehog on it. You know, so I was kind of amazed at how challenging it was. I don't know why I didn't expect it to be challenging. So, you know, the back is just sort of weird flowers. I'm sorry, people really love this pattern. Like I said, I don't know. I guess I have this love-hate relationship with it, or there's something appealing about it to me, but I really don't like it. I know, it sounds insane. It just sounds insane. And then I decided I'm continuing my new obsession with the Turnlock Wallet. So I said, oh, let me take a look, see at the Turnlock Wallet. Again, hardly any hedgehogs anywhere. I think this might have been the only one. And then this is another one of those styles with no seam here. The fabric wraps around. So the other side will be upside down. There is a little hedgehog peeping out there, but he's upside down technically. I do have a video on this wallet, but just real quick for people who may not be familiar, because I'm really liking this wallet. Hold on, let me get a toy. Rosie, did you like that? Oh, good girl. I'm sure they'll be fighting about that in 2 seconds. Oh, I think there's plastic over this clasp. Well, anyway, on the back, there's a zipper pocket that has a gusset on one side. And the front has the Turnlock clasp on that strip of fabric. And this section opens. I like it because it lays flat. You can see, it's blowing out a little bit, but you can see this sort of cool minty lining color. It has the 2 ID windows, which is what I like, because I've been keeping a photo in one and my ID in the other. And then a bill slip behind that. And then the other side, you get a bill slip up here, and then 6 card slots. And again, lays flat. Really like that. I think there might be a piece of plastic on this still. I don't know. Yes. Okay. And then the other zipper section doesn't lie flat. It's gusseted. Then you got 6 card slots there. Just a divider. That's just a divider. And another section where you could put bills or longer pieces of paper in there. And as I mentioned in my other video on this style, I love it because my phone fits in there so nicely. So I can just, you know, carry this as a clutch when I don't want to take a bag. Really like that. I was thinking about returning this because, you know, how many hedgehogs do you need? a lot, apparently, because I decided to keep it because of the hedgehog. Anyway, so that's all that, and then I'm standing there with all this little stuff, and I said, well, why don't I actually look for the one, you know, factory style bag that I actually like, and that's the Go Ahead Convertible Crossbody. I have done a couple of videos on this. I think they're in my, they should probably be in my crossbody playlist. That's quite annoying noise. If people look around for them, I maybe try to put a link. But I could just go over the features real quick again. Anyway, so I walk over to the section with the Go Ahead Convertible Crossbody. They only had a handful left in this pattern, at least out. I don't know what they had in the back. So I start looking for hedgehogs, and I, you know, please, now again, same thing. You know, it's a challenge. Not every bag has them. Not every bag has a good one. This one has a lot, so I feel kind of lucky. And at first I was like, what am I going to do? I don't really like this pattern, but I'm getting a bag in it. You know, it's just insane. But I actually really like it on. Like I said, it's good for spring and summer, I feel like, and it's refreshing. It's something crisp about it. It's that minty green color, which of course is looking a little blue here. But it's unfortunate. I don't think there's anything I could do to get it right. Because I've been looking in other light and at other days. I was experimenting with the camera, and I couldn't get it. I'll try to take a photograph. Maybe in a still photograph I could get it more accurate and put it in my Instagram for people, which is also the Vera Bradley BOTD. As you can see right there, this is the front because it's got the pleather, if you care about that, and the zipper pocket. But there's, you know, one hedgehog there and the other one there. So that's good. And then I turned around to the back. There's a hedgehog facing forward. I like the facing forward hedgehog. And I didn't even realize this at the time, but I got one on each side. So that's nice. I think there's one on the bottom too. Yeah, one on the bottom. So this bag has east-west slip pockets, which I like, and I do slip things in there, like tissues and little things. And it has this front zipper pocket, which is a good size. I mean, it runs just the whole width of the bag. I do have some measurements written down. A top zip. Oh, these are all soft plastic zippers. Top zip. Ribbon, all ribbon pull ties. Nothing on the back, just the fabric, which is nice. You get a nice piece of the pattern. So the top zipper is 13 inches across. The height of the bag from here to here is 10 inches. Now the base, it's not removable. There's some kind of stiffener in there, and I'm sure trying to squeeze the bag to that shape. Oop, there goes some stuff. That base is 8 by 5. And then the body width, like if you kind of flatten it out at its widest point here, is about 15. So I think because that base is kind of small compared to the top measurements, and the measurements closer to the top of the bag, it slouches nice, you know, when you pick it up. And it comes with 2 straps. This is the non-removable shoulder strap, which I like. It gives me a strap drop that's perfect for me. And then it comes with a removable shoulder strap. I suppose you could use just as on your shoulder as a longer shoulder strap, but you can use it as a crossbody too, and I can put it on and show how that looks. I have heard people saying they don't really like this strap and that it just, they don't like it hanging there when they're using it as a crossbody, so they're cutting this off. I think that's a real shame. For me, this is the reason I buy this bag. And I just have it hanging down against my body when I wear it crossbody, and it doesn't get in the way. It just sort of disappears, you know, behind the bag, which I can show. Hi, pretty girl, you okay? Okay, so in here, I have all my stuff. I do take a smaller wallet with this now because I have other like coronavirus stuff in there. So on one side of the wall of the bag, you have two slip pockets, and on the other wall of the bag you have a zipper pocket, you know, a basic kind of configuration. So in here, the slip pockets are not too huge, and so I have my phone just slipped in one without the Carson. I usually have this in a Carson cell phone crossbody for protection, but it won't fit in that slip pocket with it, and I wanted it in that slip pocket, so I just put the phone in there without it. I mean, I could, sometimes I do just throw the phone in the cell phone crossbody in the loose, you know, in the main compartment of the bag, but here I wanted it in that pocket. Then usually in the other pocket is where I keep this. It's the removable strap when I'm not using it. Just rolls up right, fits right in there really nicely. On the other pocket, on the zipper pockets where I keep kind of like mask stuff, mask related stuff. And then I went to a smaller wallet. This is a Riley compact wallet. I got this in a recent online outlet sale, so it was a good price. And this is Dragon Fruit Floral, which if people saw my top 10/14 patterns, this made it to spot number 3. Love this pattern, especially for the red and orange leaves in it. And so I was pleased when I opened the package and this was the pattern placement I got. And that's kind of neat there when you open the flap. And this is one piece here. This piece of fabric that wraps around. It's all one piece. Another one of those red and orange leaves. So it's very happy to see this pattern finally make it to the online outlet sale. It's got a great lining with this sort of stylized pansies interspersed with the dragonflies. Is it? Not dragonflies, fireflies. And it's not nylon. It's polyester, but it's that more cotton-like feeling, which is nice. And this is a great wallet. I have videos on this wallet. You know, it's got this flap with card slots. I think there's like 10 card slots just on this flap. And you've got another 3 card slots here, which I like because I like putting the cards that I go to most frequently here, right next to the ID window. And then it's got 3 larger pockets here, like billfold pockets. Here's one, and there's one behind that, and then there's this long zipper one behind that. You know, so security. You know, you can. That's nice. And then on the back, a tight slip pocket, and a small zipper pocket with a gusseted end. And 2 pins, a pin snap closure, and there's 2 options there where you want to close it. You know, if you have your wallet crammed with more stuff, you can use the wider setting. I have a lot of cards in that, and this flap, it's, you know, it's making this flap right here has some thickness, you can see, but I can still close it on the smaller setting of the pin snap. So I've never had a problem closing this wallet or having it feel like it's too crammed and to struggle with it. But I have heard people have had that problem when they use that flap, you know, that section with all the card slots, and it gets kind of crammed. Then I have another piece. It's Dragon Fruit Floral, which and I will get to the bag. I just thought I'd mention this is a mini Cosmetic, styled like your basic, you know, all the Cosmetic pouches with the zipper pocket on one side on the exterior and then the main zipper section. And I'm using this as a smaller GPS pouch for when I take a smaller bag. But what I wasn't liking about that when I first started doing that was that the inside was covered in that clear plastic lining. And so whenever I would slide my GPS in and out, there seemed to be friction, you know, and the whole thing was just stiff and noisy, crunchy, and I didn't like that. And so one night I just decided to see if I could cut the lining out. I figured, you know, I got this in the online outlet sale. It was cheap. You know, there's that leaf again, the orange-red leaf I love. And so I did. I got out my cuticle scissors. I'm surprised that I have cuticle scissors, seeing as I don't do my nails. But I got out my cuticle scissors, and I just made a little snip. The plastic, I should have saved the plastic. The plastic, just to show it. The plastic is sort of attached just along this edge seam. It was not tacked down in the middle here. And so I just carefully cut as close as I could along that seam, and the whole piece just, you know, cut right off. It's very easy. There's a little bit in between the seam and the zipper, but I decided to leave that. I mean, that doesn't bother me. And there was also a piece here, and a piece here, and again, I just cut a little slit in the piece of plastic to start, you know, and then I just cut around as close as I could, and those little squares came right out. So it's great. I mean, now I can enjoy the lining. You can see the lining. And I really enjoy this item because it feels so much better. It's not stiff anymore. It's not crunchy and noisy anymore. Stuff slides in and out, because I was never going to use this for cosmetics. This is not what I use for cosmetics or toiletries or anything. So it's great. You know, I just feel like, maybe you leave Mommy's new wallet alone. Yeah. I just feel like it's a whole new item now for me, and I definitely would consider getting more of these at some point if, you know, if I needed them. So that's great. And what fell? Did something fall? You can't reach that, Peaches. So it's just working great for the, you know, for the GPS. Fits right in there. And a little mini dome cosmetic. Oh, this is so you can compare. This is a mini cosmetic. This is the mini dome cosmetic, if people were wondering the size. And this one doesn't have a pocket on the outside, which I like. It's just got that one compartment. Also plastic line, but I haven't taken it out of this. What I'm using this for doesn't bother me on the inside. I just have lip gloss and some tissues in here. Then I have my hand sanitizer just stuck on the side in there. It tends to flop over, such a tall bottle, but because I have so much other stuff in there, it sort of keeps it in place. Then I have my typical charger cord pouch that I use, which is a Lighten Up medium cosmetic. But that leads me to the one last hedgehog, Penelope's Garden item that I got. This is a new to me item. I don't know how. I feel like this might be relatively new, but I'm not sure about that. But it's certainly new to me. And I bought it with the intention of it being a smaller. I would use it as I do with this, with charger cords. And I bring charger cords with me. And it's sort of just slightly smaller. I mean, not much, but it is. It's just slightly smaller. And so I thought, oh, and I take a smaller bag. But I didn't want to take my big pouch that I keep my gloves in, my latex gloves. And so I was using that. I decided to stick them in here, and it works great. I don't know, I just really like it for that. But this is a great item because, like I said, with the Lighten Up, it conforms to whatever space you have. It really kind of flattens. It's not very structured, although this does have a base. I don't know what's in there. There's a slightly stiff base in there, and there is some width to that base. You know, so it kind of stands up. But in general, it's still, you know, it takes up relatively little space and can be smushed around and flattened out and stuff in the bag, so it's great. It has these sort of rubberized pull ties and two compartments. The main zipper compartment, and it's not plastic line, it's just that nylon, you know, your typical nylon factory lining. And then it's got this pocket on the front, zips around, and lays flat, which again, I love anything that lays flat. And on one side, it has these two mesh pockets with elasticized edging, which is similar to what's going on in here where I keep my cords. And on the other side, it has another mesh pocket, but this one runs the length of the bag. It's not divided. And it has a zipper. So I just think it's a nice item, handy, not expensive, and I feel like I could definitely make use of more of these for containing various things in my bag. And this was the only one there with a hedgehog. I mean, the longer I looked, the more I almost, I couldn't believe it, that it was such a challenge, really. It's so silly. It doesn't have to be that way. They've just designed their patterns a little bit differently. There's one on the bottom too. Only one there in this pattern with a hedgehog. It's like, are you kidding me? Anyway, at least it's the one that I like, facing forward. You get that big white flower there. And it looks like the color is missing. It's almost like I feel like I'm looking at a colorized movie, like a black and white old movie, classic movie that's had color added to it. That's kind of how I feel about this pattern, with these white, big areas of white just not filled in. And this, probably didn't say exactly what this is called, right? This is a Lighten Up Compact Organizer. Sorry if I didn't say that right away. Really great, just like it a lot. It's got this little sort of ribbon loop. I guess you could thread something through there. I don't know what. Lobster claw clasp, maybe. I don't know if you could get the lobster claw clasp on a lanyard too. You could work it in there, maybe. I don't know. Anyway, so very pleased with that. Okay, so I will, let me just mention one thing about this bag that I know some people have had issues with, and so I'll mention it in case people might be sensitive to this. The lining feels a little blousy, which I sometimes am sensitive to in bags, and so I completely get that. But I've noticed with this Go Ahead Convertible Crossbody that the base, there is a base in there, not removable, but the lining is not tacked down on both sides of the base. Like here, you can see the seam where the wall of the bag meets the base, and the lining is tacked down there. So you would think that on the other side, where this seam is, you would think that would be tacked down too, but it's not. The whole lining just pulls away from the base and the body of the bag, the walls of the bag. And this happens on, I think this is my fourth one of these, and it happens on all of them now except I think one. There's one, I don't remember which pattern it is, but there's one where the base, the lining is tacked down all around, which is how it should be. So I don't know exactly what's going on with their production line, but I'm starting to think now this is really the way that they're doing it for whatever reason. I think everything goes back to cost, so I'm not really sure what's going on there, but I do think that's a shame. The lining should be tacked down all around. And if you're real sensitive to a blousy lining, that might bug you. And I have been very sensitive to blousy lining, so I completely get that. But I make an exception here because I like this bag so much. I like the slouchiness, and I like the strap drop. And it's so hard with some of these Vera bags to get a good strap drop. They're often too long for me, the strap drops, which I feel like makes the bags look more dated. So that's why I'm always all over this bag. So I'll pack it up and then I'll put it on. And I'll put it on crossbody so people can maybe get a feel for how that looks. Okay, and my hand sanitizer. Okay. Oh, and my phone. That doesn't really matter so much, but. So, just as a shoulder bag from the short strap, That's what I like. Love this bag that sits up high on my body. So my arms sort of covering the top of the bag makes me feel like I can control the bag a little bit more, especially if I have to bend over or something. And, you know, I feel like it's just a little secure. My arms got it sort of secured on my shoulder. That comes from growing up in Manhattan and always, you know, wanting to be aware of your bag and make sure nobody's snatching it from you. Because, you know, I mean, it's much better than it used to be, but I grew up in the 70s and the 80s, and the 70s, it was still rough. It was still rough. If you ever watched the movie Taxi Driver, that's what I grew up with. Now it's a little more gentrified. It's a little bit cleaner now. I miss those days. Anyway, so, you know, it's nice. It's got a nice, this bag has a nice width to it here. Again, that width on the base was 5, but, you know, the bag kind of pooches out. And you get the hedgehog there. Light helps there. So that's nice. The zipper works nice. Side without the zipper. That's blowing out a little bit. It's still blowing out. And then the strap. So this strap adjusts. I have this measurement written down, yes. This strap adjusts from 25 at its shortest to about 45 at its longest. I did not measure the hardware, but the hardware does add about 1.5 inches, 2 inches. So that might help you. I feel like 45, I was surprised, 45 for a longest length is not, you know, it's not that always enough. I mean, people are all different shapes and sizes and heights. This is not at 45. It's a little bit less than 45 right now. I have it adjusted at a length that works for me. The strap does have this buckle to adjust, and it has very sharp edges. I've mentioned this before. I prefer the softer, rounded edges of the buckles on the Signature line crossbody straps, but what are you going to do? And it has this band of fabric here, sort of help you keep your strap flat. Would have been nice if this strip of fabric had a hedgehog in it, but I didn't luck out that way. Anyway, so what I do is this is the front of the bag. This is obviously the strap that doesn't come off. So I make sure that that strap is lying on the back side of the bag. And then I hook the crossbody strap on the front, you know. So that this strap can lie on this part of the bag. If that makes sense. There's a lobster claw clasp, just slaps right on. Same thing here. Make sure it's on that side. The front, what I'll call the front. So then this is on the back. I really don't think there's anything to be huffing about, guys. And I tend to like the bag lying a little low. And I do put the buckle in the front so that I can adjust it while I'm wearing it. Sorry, I'm really crooked today. But I think it looks nice. It's the crossbody shape I like. It's very similar to the Hadley on the Go satchel when you wear it crossbody, and the shape that it falls in. Sort of a little bit smaller on the bottom, getting a little bit wider on the top, and sort of slouching. But it has some width this way, so it gives me some coverage around my hips, which I like. I'm just going to shorten this just a little bit. I do find this buckle's adjusting okay. Sometimes they're a little stiff, these factory buckles. There. So this handle then is just there against my body. It almost disappears, and I don't feel it at all. You know, you can't see it. So it's really a non-issue for me. So, you know, I was shocked to hear people say they were going to cut that off, because I thought that's what's so great about this bag is the strap options. That's one of the things that I really like about this bag, is the strap options. So, you know, I'm very pleased with it. And you know, for really not liking this pattern, I really love the way it looks. I think it's great. So I guess I should say I should stop saying I don't like the pattern, right? Anyway. And just something real quick. Or two good Superbloom finds. You know, sometimes the clearance sections are really well stocked, and they were right now. So I found this Carson Hobo. It was not a bag. I love the Carson Hobo. I have numerous videos on it. But this was not a pattern I ever really wanted in this bag, but when I tried it on in the store, I thought it looked great. And I feel like you would think pattern placement wouldn't be that important to me in a bag like this, but it is. Because sections of the pattern, some of the flowers are a little bit lighter and some are a little bit darker, and I like the darker, more luscious tones, and including the background here, that blue is gorgeous, very tropical. And so I felt like this was a good chunk of that blue with some of the deeper pinks. So I was pleased with that. And I think this is the Grab and Go wristlet. I like this, has the fabric wristlet strap instead of the pleather. I thought this would be nice when I want a smaller wallet, but I don't want to use a Riley. I still would like a zip around gusseted thing. This is a little bit smaller than the double accordion wristlet, which I tend to use. Let me just see what this is officially called. Yeah, the Rfid Grab and Go wristlet. So it's a little, yeah, it's a little shorter in length. About the same height though. This is almost a little bit taller. So kind of bare bones inside. I mean, like not too many options. You got, I don't even know if a bill would fit that way. You might have to fold it in half. And a few card slots, the zipper pocket and the divider. And the other side, same configuration on the other side. No ID window. You'd have to use one of those card slots for your ID. But that's, you know, this part, this darker pink is just hard for me to resist. I think it's gorgeous. It's just yummy. It's really a luscious kind of color. Very tropical looking. I feel like I should be in Key West or something. So anyway, that's my incident. Basically a Penelope's garden incident, and very, very pleased with this. Go Ahead Convertible Crossbody, Mirror Cosmetic, Accordion Wallet, Kiss Coin Purse, Turnlock Wallet, and the laptop sleeve. Anyway, I hope people found that helpful to get a look at the pattern if they haven't been able to see it, you know, in person yet. It's very cute. So anyway, thanks so much for watching, and hopefully see you next time on Vera Bradley Bag of the Day.